Oops. Sorry. Was I not almost what you thought you wanted? Well, a 2-hot plate stove was what my warmth had been reduced to. And you, you thought that was all there was to it. Until you saw me naked. Introduced to you in my nakedness was my folds. Yes, folds. Folds that seemed to cover all the way down to the parts with which I came out from. Only now you realize that actually a hot plate came in coils. I was coiled up. Yes, I was. I watched you try to convince yourself that perhaps it does not get worse than it. And yet, just yet, a rude awakening awaited you. Wait, let's rewind a bit. What exactly were the characteristics of a hot plate? Warmth? Or perhaps heat? Is that all they told you about? Because with heat came burns. And burns. You see, burns were black. Wait, what? Imagine how a hot plate came with silver coils, but only for them to turn black after a couple heated situations. You see, I had burns and they were black. What they forgot to tell you about me was that, coiled as I was, I produced plenty of heat. Yes, but with heat came burns. You see, the warmest places in my body was underneath my breast, between my thighs, and in between my arms. But then again, those were the darkest places in my body. And for me, the heat came from the friction. I said friction. Between all the places in my body that rubbed in together as I walked, as I sat, and as I stood. Now, with friction came the most uncomfortable part. Discoloration. Now you start to realize that this is actually not what you signed up for. Because for you to be able to get to the heat, you had to navigate bumps. And those bumps were titled cellulite. Right on top of the bumps were the maps. And those maps were maps that led to my warmth. I like to call those maps stretch marks. Now came the most part of it all. The patches, the black patches from the bands. That came with the heat. But then again, I sat and watched you try to convince me after you have tried to convince yourself that all I have ever known as beautiful was not. In my nakedness, you tried to make me believe that which I saw every day when I looked and stood in front of the mirror was not beautiful. But wait, did I hear you just say fat people are not pretty? You lie. Yes, you lie. I say this because you might have bitten a bit more than you can chew. Now, free yourself before you start telling me to find a new norm, one with which I do not relate. The thing is, I loved myself thick. Thick? No. The truth of the matter is that I loved myself fat. Well, I was the big, folded coil of heat with dark marks and patches that represented the truth of having a huge part of my body rub against each other. And that for me was magical. I was fat, hot, and yet still very beautiful.